All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking on the ultimate white whale of the Elite Dangerous universe, the true location of Raxxla. I mean, for over a millennium in the game's lore, commanders have chased rumors, whispers, and tiny breadcrumbs trying to find this mythical place. But what if the clues have actually been staring us in the face all along, hidden right there in ancient poetry, galactic geometry, and complex mathematics? We are going to look at a genuinely brilliant synthesis of in-game data that proposes a highly calculated, step-by-step path to the gateway of Raxxla. And we're going to build this from the ground up, moving logically from grounded, concrete lore into some seriously wild, highly speculative territory.
So it all kicks off with the legendary Raxxla toast. This is a piece of ancient in-game lore dating way back to 2096. Now, for the longest time, the community mostly treated this as just a poetic myth, right? But the analysis we're looking at today treats this toast as a literal cipher. It's a precise set of access instructions. Every single line in this poem corresponds to a very specific anchor point in the galaxy, and unlocking its meaning is absolutely crucial. It's our very first step on this journey.
Here is our roadmap for today, going from the least to the most speculative theories. 1. Map of Egyptian gods. 2. The landscape signal. 3. The Fibonacci spiral. 4. The ring of ABC3. And finally, 5. The orbit of Raxxla.
Section 1. Map of Egyptian gods. Mythological coordinates. Okay, check out how the poetic lines of the toast directly identify three massive anchor systems. The Mother of Galaxies refers to Cassiopeia, specifically the star Zeta Cassiopeiae, right on the goddess's brow. The parent's grief points to Daedalus mourning Icarus, which links directly back to our own Sol system. And the lover's woe represents the myth of Orion chasing the Pleiades, which is anchored by the Maya system. Just like that, we suddenly have a massive galactic triangle.
But it gets so much deeper. Ancient game lore mentions an alien species connected to Egyptian gods. And incredibly, investigators found 4 exact systems in the game named after the Egyptian deities: Isis, Horus, Ra, and Osiris. Now, these aren't just random stars thrown in for flavor. When you look at their exact X, Y, and Z coordinate geometry, they deliberately mirror the systems we just decoded from the toast. The Isis system is literally a scaled-down clone of Zeta Cassiopeia, and the Ra system is an exact mirror of our Sol system.
When you map these Egyptian god systems together, they snap into a literal 3D tetrahedron. The Osiris system actually serves as a tiny scale model of Orion's belt and sword. It's like a giant puzzle, and if you overlay this Egyptian map onto our toast locations, Sol, Maya, and Zeta Cassiopeia, it points straight as an arrow into a dense, manual navigation zone right in the heart of the Orion Nebula. Bam, we have our target zone.
Section 2. The landscape signal, a visual audio secret.
So, moving on to our next clue, the crucial point here is the seemingly random audio transmission known as the landscape signal. It was discovered out near the galactic core, right by Sagittarius A star. Remember that line from the toast about the whisperer in witch space, the siren of the deepest void? Well, this audio signal is exactly that. But here's the catch. Just listening to it isn't enough. You literally have to look at it.
In what is honestly a mind-blowing piece of digital sleuthing, researchers ran this game audio through a spectrogram. By mapping the audio's frequency to elevation luminosity, it actually generated a visual topographical landscape. And when they compared that to the actual physical geography of the Orion Nebula's central core, which, remember, is our target zone from the Egyptian map, it is a literal perfect match. The game's audio design is visually proving that we're looking in the exact right place.
Section 3. The Fibonacci spiral. Navigating the nebula.
Now we're getting into the math. Within the game, players discovered a mysterious poem on a derelict megaship called the Zerara. The final verses of this poem explicitly tell us to use the Fibonacci sequence. It says, "Seek Fibonacci Zephyrum." Now, Zephyrum is the ancient Latin translation of the Arabic word for zero. It's literally spelling it out for us. Find point 0 of a Fibonacci spiral to chart our course through the nebula.
Investigators realized the starting point, point 0, was a system right in the Orion Nebula appropriately named the Veil. This perfectly connects to the lore of Commander Salome's ship, which was called the Seven Veils. And hey, if you look at the official Raxxla logo, it has exactly 33 dash segments around it. So what is 33? It's the exact sum of the first 7 numbers of the Fibonacci sequence: 1 + 1 + 2 + 3 + 5 + 8 + 13.
This gives us a highly specific spiral jump route consisting of exactly 7 mathematical distances.
Take a look at this data. When you compare the calculated expected distances of that Fibonacci spiral against actual jumpable star systems in the game, they align almost perfectly. I mean, the margin of error is practically zero. This completely validates the math. The game designers deliberately place systems at these exact mathematical intervals to create a hidden breadcrumb trail for us to follow.
Section 4. The Ring of ABC3, the Final Destination.
So the math brings us to a system with this massive alphanumeric designation, 2MAS J535147-0526003. But here is the massive red flag. This system name is completely duplicated in the game's database. There are literally 2 systems with the exact same name. One is just a single, boring star basically, acting as a digital veil, deliberately hiding the true, complex system we were meant to find at the end of the spiral. Strikingly, the visual confirmation for this lies inside the game's Orbis tourist stations. There are these very distinct garden layouts that the community has long suspected were hidden clues. Well, when you compare the map of those tourist gardens with the literal astronomical layout of this specific 2-mass star system, they perfectly mirror each other. The stars, the planetary arrangements, the groupings, it's an exact, undeniable match.
But the tourist garden map has one missing piece, and the actual system has the answer. Planet ABC3. This is a blue ice world with a highly distinct golden ring. Its planetary neighbors heavily reference themes from John Milton's classic, Paradise Lost, specifically the icy prison of Satan and the golden gates of heaven. This specific golden ring on ABC3 is believed to be the Ouroboros. It's the physical hyperspace gateway, or the access key to Raxxla itself.
Section 5. The Orbit of Raxxla, a moving target.
Now we're entering the most speculative, but arguably the most fascinating part of the explainer. The culminating theory here proposes that the gateway on ABC3 doesn't just drop you onto some static planet. Instead, Raxxla is a rogue planetary body that is constantly moving through hyperspace, or witch space. This perfectly explains the name of the secretive faction guarding it, the Dark Wheel. Raxxla is quite literally a wheel turning in the dark.
By taking the coordinates of systems heavily tied to Raxxla lore, mathematicians were actually able to calculate a precise 3D orbital ring in witch space. And guess what sits at the exact mathematical center of this massive orbit? A system called Su Cassiopeae. But just like our destination system, it's a fake. The real Su Cassiopeae is located somewhere else entirely. The developers placed a fake, duplicated system at these exact coordinates to act as the hidden anchor for Raxxla's orbit.
Projecting this calculated witch space orbit down to a 2D plane reveals the final piece of the puzzle. The circle perfectly intersects with historical hotspots deeply tied to Raxxla's lore. Places like Dav's Hope, Alpha Centauri, and Suntil. Raxxla's orbit periodically brushes past these systems, which perfectly explains why strange occurrences and lore events are clustered around them. The math heavily implies that the Dark Wheel really is out there, orbiting through the void.
Which leaves us with the ultimate puzzle, doesn't it? By following the Egyptian gods, decoding the landscape audio, tracing the Fibonacci spiral, and finding the golden ring of ABC3, we might finally know exactly where the door is. But if Raxxla is a world forever moving through the dark of witch space, how on earth do we catch a world that never stops moving? Who will be the first commander to wait at the golden ring and step through at the exact right time? That is the incredible mystery this explainer leaves us to ponder. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.